Softears is an IEM brand that's known for its very well-tuned IEMs. Mostly. And one of the more recent releases is one of those very well-tuned IEM and incredibly hyped as well, the Volume S, of course. And to be honest, it's been hyped for a better part of 6 to 8 months now. I'm a little bit late on this, but better late than never. Hey friends, Timmy here, welcome back to another video on TimTune, and without further ado, let's jump right into the review of the Volume S. Now the sound signature of the Volume S is quite interesting. It has two main areas of emphasis, the first one being in the bass and the second one being in the upper mid-range. Now both of these areas are quite significantly boosted to the point where I would say that the Volume S doesn't really sound like a neutral IEM. It definitely has some coloration, some excitement to it, but these colorations are very tastefully done. First, let's talk about the most hyped up quality of the Volume S, that is the bass. The bass of the Volume S is elevated, but not in a way that is traditionally done, like a flat to 3, flat to 200, and a bass shelf. This one is more evenly elevated, almost to around 300 Hertz. And this, in combination with the elevated upper mids, give the bass profile this very physical, heavy, yet not muddy signature. Like each note weight or the attack of each instruments feel very substantial. And although the bass amount itself is not much, it really feels substantial. So even bass head who are seeking a stronger amount of bass or more amount of bass, I'll say even you guys will be impressed with the Volume S's bass performance. Moving on to the mid-range, and this is kind of where I have a love-hate relationship with the Volume S. Yes, vocals are very clear and in front because of how boosted the upper mid-range is, and the timbre quality sounds largely normal, but at the same time I can't help but feel this bit of hollowness, a bit of squeezing in the soundstage, if you will. Now, I don't like to use the word soundstage, but I think it is appropriate in this case. Because of how the mid-range and bass was tuned, that combination really gives you a narrower kind of soundstage experience, a bit squeezy kind of feel. It's not as open and wide as I would like. But at the same time, I do recognize that this is probably necessary in order to achieve such a physical and strong attacking bass while having pretty clear and concise vocal experience. So it's a trade-off. But is it a trade-off that I'm personally okay with? Well, it's kind of hard to answer because on some songs, I love it. The bass is so fun, love the Volume S. And on some other songs, I'm like, this feels a little congested to me and I don't quite love the Volume S, so hence love-hate relationship here. But the one thing that's much easier to love about the Volume S is in the treble. It is a safe, polite, normal, natural sounding treble, while at the same time not sounding too dark, like the details is not masked or hidden, doesn't sound like it rolled off way too fast or anything like that. It just sounds like a safe, normal, great timbre giving treble. The only con I can say in this area is the fact that it might be too safe for some. Like it lacks the fun sparkliness that some of you guys might be looking for. Now on to technical performance. Let's bring up my scale right here, and I would say the Volume S lands cleanly around the Blessing 3. It is quite a technical sounding IEM, maybe not in the traditional sense of the word, as in a lot of micro details, some brightness, details or information that are forward and in front of you, not in that traditional sense, although some of those do exist in the Volume S as well, but it's more so in its overall incisiveness, the attack of each note, the weight behind it. It's something that I don't see in many IEMs. To have an attack that is this heavy, but at the same time not sounding overwhelming or blunt is rare. Now on to the comparison segment, and the most requested one is the Sense T Pro. Now between these two, especially when you A/B test them side by side, you'll hear what I mean when I say the soundstage of the Volume S feels a bit narrow. The T Pro feels much more open and normal sounding in comparison. So mid-range wise, for me, I prefer the mid-range of the T Pro. But when it comes to anything else, like the bass physicality, the overall handling of the treble, I think the Volume S edges it out and does it superior to the T Pro. Especially when it comes to bass quality, the Volume S is not only more well-defined, more tactile, but at the same time, I feel like it's more well separated from the mid-range. It's not as low contrast as you find it on the T Pro. And in regards to the treble, the Volume S is smoother and offers a superior sense of natural timbre as well. Now versus the Moondrop Blessing 3, which is going for a more neutral kind of signature, the Blessing 3 feels a lot more open and clean and clear, but at the same time, it's not as fun and not as wowing as the Volume S. Both IEMs are the same level of technicalities for me, but they do technical details a bit differently. Where the Volume S, like I said, is an attacking monster. The incisiveness of each note hit and how strong it is very impressive. The Blessing 3 is incisive in its own way, although the note weight and attack is not nearly as heavy or satisfying as on the Volume S. But what the Blessing 3 has is the more traditional sense of technicalities, like the treble details and micro nuances that are a bit more forward than on the Volume S. I will say this though, if you love bass, especially good bass quality, then the Volume S is the obvious choice. But if you care more about openness, cleanliness, and brightness, then Blessing 3 will be more your IEM. And lastly, a comparison with the Kiwi Ears Astro, another highly technical sounding IEM, very incisive. I would say the Astro leans more in the territory of the Blessing 3, being a brighter sounding, more treble nuanced IEM, as opposed to the Volume S's more low-end nuance, if you will. Between the two, I think the Volume S has a more well-balanced kind of sound signature, and I think a lot of people are gonna find the Volume S easier to listen to. The Astro is really for people who love extra brightness because it does have quite a lot of it, especially in the upper treble. And if you like technicalities in a cleaner, more open kind of sense, then the Astro is going to be more your IEM. For me though, I would pick the Volume S over the Astro, mainly because of that tonal balance. Is more my preference, you know, being heavier in the bass and all that, but also because of the timbre. The Volume S has much better timbre, at least to my ears. The Astro has a brighter, more energetic timbre, but also a bit digital because of that treble spike at the end. And now for final rating, and the Volume S gets a well-deserved A-. Yes, almost an A. I thought about giving it an A, but that narrow soundstage to me, I had to dock a little bit of points. So A- it goes, but it gets full send. Green thumbs up at this price point. I think it is a great sounding IEM, especially if you're looking for great bass quality or you don't know what great bass quality sounds like. Volume S. Here you go. Now, there are only two group of people I wouldn't recommend the Volume S to, or I'd recommend you guys go demo it first. And the first one being if you like brightness, you like a lot of treble, you like a lot of micro nuances, then the Volume S might not be for you. And second group is if you like a more traditional neutral IEM. The Volume S is quite colored and exciting, fun, if you will. And with all that said, that is it for this video today. Let me know in the comment section below if you tried the Volume S, what you think of it. I would love to know, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace and bye.